Hi, welcome back to Lakeside Quilt Making Arts. I'm all bundled up because I just got back from shooting this video at the lake. It was a little chilly. That was fine. I'm just not warmed up yet. Unfortunately, I can't run any of the video that I shot because there's just too much wind. Maybe it's what the editing software was doing with the combination of the wind and my voice. It was making screeching noises, and you don't want to listen to that. So we're going to just reshoot it. What I was explaining at the lake to you guys is that I was choosing to take this slow stitch Sunday to do a reset. I sat with my thoughts this morning trying to contemplate what's been kind of turning in my head all week about the quilt shows, block of the month, block 2, the whole quilt actually. I couldn't put all of my thoughts I couldn't organize them well all week. They were just kind of tumbling. So I sat with my thoughts a little bit today. Before I explain what the reset is about, let me first kind of remind everybody that this is a vlog style channel. It's not just about what a quilt maker can do. It is about a quilt maker's life, my life. I'm being vulnerable about my progress and about my experiences, not only because it makes a channel, and that's great, and I get to share and be part of the community, but maybe it helps somebody else, and it's like an accountability partner for me. It gives me a place where I have to process mentally about the learning, and it makes me kind of step 2 a little bit more than I might if I was just freely doing what I'm doing. So hopefully it helps a new person as well. So if you have any newbies on your list who are looking for some guidance, tell them to put their own filter on, but to come and check out my journey. They're going to feel better about themselves when they see somebody else going down one way and having to go down a different one. And that's what our video is about at the lake today, where I'm having to acknowledge that I need to change my trajectory. When Barbara Black first started doing the videos about the Pick a Pearl, I was disappointed because I wanted to learn Jen Kingwell's way of hand stitching. It's the reason I was doing the quilt. That is nothing against Barbara. I live in the same town as she does, just by happenstance, but I don't know her, but I like her. I like her a lot. The way she teaches, every bit of it is like 99.9%, resonates with me. The idea and the concept of, she wants the quickest, most efficient way to do things. That's typically how I want to do things too. But I also like the process, gotta admit, so that's where I leave that 0.1% in there, that I have no complaint against Barbara. That statement was not about her or about the quilt show. I love the quilt show. I'll tell you every time I bring it up, if you're not a member, go be a member. Just that one video of Barbara's is worth it. Actually, I think it's one of the free ones on YouTube, but still, there's just a wealth of information available to you through the quilt show. One of them is a show number 1602 with Sally Collins. Is that right? Yeah, Sally Collins. I started watching that today. I was rewatching Barbara like twice today, and then started watching Sally. And when I decided a reset was needed, because what was going on in my head was that I fell in love with Jen Kingwell first, and her hand stitching second, and then the combination was just unbeatable. But then the quilt, and then I realized this quilt is the perfect one to marry all the fabrics I've been collecting for a legacy quilt for my daughter's first child. I'd been gathering all these fabrics that represent her and her husband, and then the baby would have a quilt that kind of represents everybody in their lives together, and then her mother and father separately. But I also was being cognizant of those colors and those fabrics kind of working together in kind of a 1940s vibe, which kind of suits my daughter a little bit. So that altogether, that set my feet firmly on a trajectory. I was going to hand piece, and I was going to make that quilt, and I was going to use these fabrics to do it. So I had a lot of personal buy-in to how this quilt was going to be done. So when Barbara starts talking about how she's machine stitching, when we were first doing this first block, I was disappointed because I was looking forward to hearing about how to do the slow stitching. So I thought, that's fine. I can, I watched, went back and watched Jen teach about how to do the stitching by hand. I thought, okay, I can do this. And I did, right? That's not bad. I did that. It gave me some confidence. So I thought, okay, I I can do this. And then when I watched Barbara do the block 2 presentation, and she's not even using the same technique or the same elements. Like, you can see how I call these the wings. This, I don't know what the name of that, and I cannot point this way, but these things that are pointing out, like the star points, but they're not really star points. I call them wings. She's making those into rectangles. She's making those from rectangles, and then she's appliquing the swoops. Where's the swoop? See that swoop right there? She's appliquing that down on top of it, and then going behind the swoop and cutting away part of the rectangle that isn't needed after you put the applique on. So okay, like that was way out of left field for me. I did not see that coming, and my feet are over here headed towards this other trajectory. I had my own passion, right? My own passionate personal goal. But what I've realized is that I can have my own personal goal, or I can have a productivity goal. And why did I build this channel in the first place? I built this channel so I can learn. Okay, Dawn, are you wanting to learn, or you want to be bullheaded and do things your way, and it may take a lot longer? Or do you want to actually learn something that is being taught to you, that's readily available, it's right there, and that's Barbara's teachings, and they're great, just because you want to firmly keep your feet planted on this one trajectory without letting anybody else into it? Well, I didn't want to do that. Of course I don't. But I also don't want to compromise, right? I do want to learn. I would love to be as awesome as Jen Kingwell. Have you seen her hand stitching? Oh my gosh, it's amazing. I want to do that. Okay, I'm not Jen Kingwell, so I have to have a reality, shift. I'm not her, but can I practice that? Yes. Do I have to practice it all in pace with everybody else while I'm trying to keep pace with everybody on this one block of the month, quilt along all year? No. So I had cut out 6 of these to go with me to Charleston. This is my compromise. I would do all 6 of these based off of these wings. There it is. Yeah. It's just so hard to do that over your back. I will do all 6 of those the Jen Kingwell way. And then the others, I will do Barbara's way. So I decided I needed a reset. So I didn't even rush to even get started today. I went to Home Depot. No, I didn't. I went to Walmart to get some things so I could put the pegboard up. But if I'm going to do a reset, let's do this reset proper. Let's get the studio organized. Let's get that pegboard that's been propped up over there, get it up on the wall, kind of do a for today. And my dog and I went for a little walk, went to the park to talk to you guys because it was nice and peaceful there to explain the reset. Well, that video didn't work out, but that's fine. We're resetting again. So I don't have any stitching to show you. I just have a story to tell you. And that's why I'm saying this is a vlog. It's not just about what a quilt maker can do. It is also about a quilt maker's life. It is the journey of quilt making. It's not just about the doing of quilt making. It is all, and that's what drives me about quilt making, is that it is the legacy aspect of it. Since my son, who is 37, since he was an infant, the word legacy has driven almost every decision I've ever done. It's partly a good part of why I got into the legacy business of personal historian business. It's a good part of why I got into the community business of publishing magazines. And before that, I worked at a community TV station, and it just, it's about community and connection, and about what we can all do together to better things for the next generation, building on what the past generation has. That just speaks to me, right? And that's what quilts are. They are legacy. We can help to build that legacy and move that forward. So it's the legacy, the idea that what we're doing here with our quilt making is about a legacy. We're pouring our story into every one of these stitches, and that's being passed down to somebody else. Even donation quilts that are being given to somebody who will never know. Every time they cuddle up with that, they're making a legacy. They're making a story with it. Every story is nothing but a legacy. That's what drives me about quilt making. Well, my legacy here is something that I want to make sure that it fairly represents who I am. And if I'm on a learning journey, I don't need to be doing a hands out, to what Barbara Black's doing with her approach with the machine stitching and, changing how this is pieced together. Like, I shouldn't be bullheaded. She's a wonderful teacher, right? So if I'm going to have to shift how I'm learning, then I shift how I'm learning. But I wasn't prepared to do that, so I did not do any of the actual work today. I just took time to do some other things that helped me to get a personal reset. So the studio is better organized and easier to function in. That's kind of my objective there. It was kind of a process to get to this point. So during the week, like I said, my thoughts were tumbling, and one of you, and let me just say, any and all of you who have reached out to give me some guidance about any of the blocks, period, that I'm working on, anything, but particularly these. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. And, a couple of you said, hey, you really need to go back to watch Barbara. And you're right. So I did. And when I did, it pulled right back up where, how on YouTube, whenever you're watching something and you stop it, well, it pulled right back up where I had left off last time. And that's where she was explaining the templates and, how she made these sections out of squares. And I think, okay, but Dawn, you didn't cut them that way. Okay, Dawn, you only did 6 of them. So it was just part of the evolution of breaking down this stubborn wall about being stuck on this one trajectory that I was passionate about, and then having to recognize that being stubborn was not allowing me to achieve my real goal, and that is to learn. Barbara is a fabulous teacher, and with a wealth of information. She's offering information. I need to receive it. So I will be compromising. I will be changing up how I'm doing the blocks. I would do these first 6 the way Jen Kinglow did. I may set them aside and then quickly here, before the next video comes out, I hope to have one block put together the way Barbara's doing it. I will be hand stitching it and not sewing it by machine, but I will be using her large square method that she's doing, which is fine. So this was my compromise. I stepped away from one thing, but not entirely setting it aside. I can still do the Jen Kingwell method. I just don't have to do them all that way. But if I want to practice it on my own, I can. And I have all of the materials to do that. I have her templates for that. And I have this experience, and I've learned things from it. But now I need to change directions. It was just kind of, I needed to sit with my thoughts this morning. And while I did, I watched Barbara again. So this morning when I was watching Barbara, she mentioned Sally Collins, and that show 1602 where Ricky and Alex were interviewing her, and she pointed us to her, Sally, as an expert and a good place to learn some techniques. And I guess Sally, that reference to Sally had kind of skipped over me, like it had not registered, because I don't remember going back and watching her. I watched the one for Jenny Beyer, and I watched that a couple of different times, but not the one with Sally. So I went back to watch with Sally, and I got about halfway through, and I went back to Barbara's, and it was just looking at the two teachers and looking at the wealth of information that's available to me. So I need to just kind of lean in, dig into that. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm at peace with the direction I'm choosing, and that's a productivity goal over the passion personal goal. And I want to take that peace, reestablish peace in my studio, and then come back and meet you guys next Sunday with whatever I've gotten done. And then we'll just keep it pacing. Let me just talk about pacing. And that's the other thing I had to come to terms with. I'm not going to be able to keep pace. I don't have all 20 blocks done, and it is the 24th or something of the month, something like that. We've got how many days in this month? No, it won't happen. I won't be able to get them done, but that's okay. But I will have them on the way, and I can work on them over time, and I don't have to keep pace, right? I need to learn while the information is being provided to me. So I will switch gears when we do block 3, and I will learn about block 3, and then I can go back and do block 2 and do block 3 throughout the year. And that was an important thing for me to accept too. This is my first quilt along that I've done. It's so different than the quilt along I'm doing with Moda Fabrics up there, which is weekly. We have one pattern, and it's just a different animal. I don't know if I know how to describe how it's a different animal. Why this is so much more challenging. Not to, well, I mean, the construction is more challenging, that's for sure. And because it's hand stitched, is definitely, and you got curves, right? I mean, curves are just kind of their own thing, their own little animal. But I've been wanting to learn about curves, which is part of why I wanted to do this. Partly why I was resisting Barbara's, because I wanted to learn how to do curves the proper way, not applique. But like I said, I'm going to stop being bullheaded and learn from the people who are trying to teach me. It makes me think about what is that joke? A guy's bobbing around out in the water, and he's saying, "God, please help me. Oh, please, Jesus, help me." And somebody comes by to help him, and he turns him away and said, "No, Jesus is going to help me." And then screams out again, "Jesus, please help me." Somebody else comes by to help him, and he says, "No, Jesus is going to help me." And he pleads again with Jesus, "Oh, please help me." And finally, after that happens 3 times, God says, "Hey, I sent you 3 people." I don't want to be that person. I know I just played that joke. I kind of modified it, but that's okay. I hope you had a good laugh on my expense. All right, my friends, I hope that some of this has been of some benefit to you in some way. Maybe you needed a reset too. Maybe you needed to be pointed back to Barbara and Sally and to rethink about what your real objectives are, and to rethink about your skills, and if there's any way you can learn to upscale them a little bit too. Or maybe you're already the expert and you're watching me and thinking, "Well, that silly girl." Oh, I remember when. I went, whatever. That's what I'm here for. This is a journey. This is my legacy of quilt making at its very beginning. Not very beginning. The very beginning was in the 90s. But I, I was learning from a couple of magazines and a couple of books, out of a few paragraphs here and there. I didn't have anyone instructing me. So there's a lot of waste, a lot of mistakes, and it was frustrating. So at some point, I had to say, I don't have enough time as a mother of 2 young children in a small house to give this what I want to give it, or what it's going to take from me. So, money and time and energy and distraction from the children. The children is where I decided to put my efforts. And then I became, a professional career person. And, there was no room for it at all in my life until now. So for this past year, I've been diving in, trying to learn. But I realize 100% that just because YouTube is here and it provides so much information, there's just no shortage of any question we can ask YouTube in general, but especially about quilting. But the real caveat here, the obstacle that I have to monitor is myself. Can I learn what's being taught? So I have to keep myself, my studio, and my life peaceful so I can receive. Do you hear her? She's asking to go out again. This is what we do from 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock, about every 30 minutes. With I swear, every 30 minutes for about 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock. About 9 o'clock, she gets her medicine, and she's got her internal clock. I know, girl. I know. Just a minute. My friends, I appreciate you being here. I really do. This journey wouldn't be the same without you. I've enjoyed communicating with you guys in the comments and I hope to do more of that. I also would like to show any of the photos of your work that you'd like to share, whether it's this quilt or any of the other things that we do or that you do on your own that you're just proud of. I'd like to show them. You can email them lakesideqma@gmail.com. I know that the quilt show has their own forum, and I don't want to distract from anybody else's goals. I'm here to support other people and be part of this community, not to try to take anybody's work and take it a different direction. I don't mean to do that at all. But part of being in a community is sharing with each other. So if you'd like to share with this community, I'd love to share that, and maybe it will inspire somebody else. So if you email me a picture, include a caption, and then I will include that information when I show it on a video. So my friends, that's it. I'm going to call it an evening and get this edited so it'll be up tomorrow. Don't worry, I will come back with my blocks next Saturday. This Saturday is next Sunday. I do them on Saturday so you can see them on Sunday. I will have something. I will have something, I promise. I'm not giving up on it. I just needed a reset today, and it was a mental reset, and I did it. I sat quietly with my thoughts and then with Barbara, and it just took me a few minutes this morning for me to kind of process and figure out what was aggravating me about the whole thing, why I was making blunders. The fact that, which one is it? The fact that I cut this on a bias, I know not to cut that on a bias. So how did I do that? How did I make that mistake? Well, I was either rushed, which I probably was, or feeling some stress about the whole thing. I don't know. I know I've told a few of you that I cut that on a straight of grain because I was intentionally trying to do that. I can see myself doing that. I remember doing that. But clearly I didn't do it on that one piece. Did I not do it on others too? That was probably an eighth yardage, a fat eighth, and I probably had to fudge to get that template on there. Did I do that on any others? I don't know. That's another reason why appliquing it down might be a smart way to go. Don't know. What I know is that to learn, I need to have a peaceful studio, a peaceful mind in order to receive, so that I'm not thinking about too many things at one time. Clearly I was when I was putting this together, because I have this issue here where this doesn't go all the way across, and I didn't see it until the very, very end. And then this blue one down here is ruffled. 2 mistakes in one block that came from obvious user error mistakes. I needed a reset, clearly. So what all needed to be done? So I thought about it, as I've discussed, and came up with what we've talked about here in this video. It was a process. I feel good about it. I'm at peace about everything and looking forward to learning from Barbara. I'm going to spend some time this evening and tomorrow and rewatching Barbara and taking some notes, and rewatching Sally and taking some notes. And then I'll be putting together at least one block before I see you again next Sunday. Until then, I hope you enjoy your stitching. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.